Hello to everyone. Welcome and thank you for registering to this webinar that the ICLEI World Secretariat is organizing for ICLEI regional offices. So the webinar will be about introducing and explaining the TAP, that is the Transformative Actions Program. I am Annabelle Roblin, Junior Officer at the World Secretariat, and I am working on project development regarding the TAP and COP21, where ICLEI and partners are going to be organizing a TAP pavilion. So I will moderate this webinar today together with Agathe Cavicchioli, Junior Project Officer in the Low Carbon Cities team. So Agathe, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you very much, Annabelle. As explained, I'm a junior project officer here at the Low Carbon Cities team, and I was involved in the design of the application form for the Transformative Actions Program. So later on in this presentation, I will walk you through the form and explain how it works.
Thank you, Agathe. So Louisa Weiss, also from the knowledge management team, is here with us today, and she will support us regarding technical matters. So Louisa, if you would like to tell us a bit more.
Yes, hello. Also, I would like to welcome you to this webinar organized through the World Secretariat. I will just give you a very brief technical introduction regarding to the system we are using. You as our audience will be muted throughout the two presentations that you will hear. If you have questions, please feel free to type them into the question box that you see in the webinar interface in front of you. We will later have a question and answer session. During that session, we are happy to answer your questions that you post to us. You can also raise your hand then, and we will be happy to unmute you and engage in a discussion with you about the topic. Thank you very much for attending, and I hope you will enjoy this webinar. If you have technical issues, please also type them in the question box. I am happy to assist you as far as I can. Handing over back to Annabelle.
Thank you, Louisa. So let's get started then. So this is the outline of today's webinar. So there will be two main stages. So first of all, 20 to 25 minute presentations where we will take you through the TAP. So as I said, introducing and explaining the TAP. That is, first of all, the concept, its meaning for ICLEI's work and strategy. Also some general information on the content of the program, that is the 4 pillars of the TAP. And also information on the TAP 2015 application and selection process. So information on the timeline of the process, on the selection criteria, and also the application form, and finally the selection process. And so in the second time, we will have, as Louisa said, a question and answer session where you will have the opportunity to ask questions to us. So also note that as a complement to this webinar, we will send you afterwards a link to a presentation given by Yunus Arikan, who is the head of global policy and advocacy here at ICLEI World Secretariat. And this presentation will give you some more background information on the international climate negotiations process and COP21. So to start, let's talk about what is the TAP. So the TAP is a 10-year program, the purpose of which is to accelerate implementation of local climate actions of local and subnational governments, and in the crucial pre-2020 and post-2020 phases, and also to raise ambitions at all levels of government. So that is not only local and subnationals, but also, of course, national and international. So to be more specific, the TAP will seek to improve access to existing capital flows, but also to catalyze additional capital flows for cities and regions from both public and private investors. So the TAP has two missions. One is political, and one is more the climate mission of the TAP, you could say. So on the political level, the aim of the TAP is to actively advocate for better and quicker access to larger amounts of climate finance for cities and regions, Why? Because this is in cities and regions where climate change can be tackled effectively. And also because, as we know, effective climate action at all levels has become urgent given the challenges linked to climate change and also increasing urbanization. So through the TAP, local governments and their networks will pursue and intensify their efforts to bridge the gap between negotiations and the implementation process by putting forward these proposals of transformative action. About the climate mission, which is also very important of the TAP. So the TAP will also aim to assist the pre-brokering between subnational authorities and financing bodies where possible, and to help to mobilize cities and regions to design transformative and bankable climate actions. So to achieve these two missions, the TAP will rely on two processes, as you can see on the graph. So first of all, a process of mobilization of key actors at all levels, so local, national, and international. And the second process is a process of visibilization, showcasing the climate actions already being implemented at the local and subnational levels, but also the potential that's there. So this will be done by drawing on already existing tools, as you can see, such as reporting platforms, but also TAP will develop its own tools, that is a TAP platform online, and a TAP pavilion, as I mentioned, that will be organized every year at COPs. So the TAP will guide ICLEI's work with and for cities and regions over the next 5 to 10 years. And so hopefully the TAP will also enable all ICLEI offices to better connect their cities to funding opportunities. And so clearly it will contribute to ICLEI's political agenda towards and beyond COP21. So turning to the content of the TAP. So here you can see the 4 pillars of the TAP. So let's start with the TAP project pipeline, which is the process by which every year up to 100 TAP projects are selected in the run-up to the annual conference of the parties and presented during the COP. So this will start this year at COP21. So during this process, cities and regions are actively mobilized to apply to TAP, and then they are also supported in their application. So both by the TAP team within the World Secretariat, but also ideally by regional offices. So this means identifying ideally cities with transformative projects, also providing webinars where possible in relevant languages for applicants, and for which this webinar should give you maybe some tools already, and also providing where possible translations to make the whole process accessible to a largest number of cities and regions. So as you notice, this on the graph, this pillar is already underway, and you are probably already aware of it already. So yes, it's underway since on the 5th of May. Applications have started, with the first deadline being on the 15th of June 2015. So turning to the TAP platform, all projects submitted by cities and regions will then be featured on this platform in a unified format. So this will be done before the COP, and so the platform will centralize projects and make them more visible for financing institutions to have access to the relevant information about these projects and consider financing. Turning to the TAP Pavilion. So the TAP Pavilion is the actual physical component of the program. That is that it's the space where the selected TAP projects will be presented to national delegations, international donors and financing agencies, both from the public and private sector, during the COP. And so, as I said, the first pavilion, called TAP 2015, will be organized at COP21 next December in Paris. Finally, the last period, TAP Advocacy for Accelerated Climate Action, will build on previous achievements in local climate advocacy. and it will diversify and strengthen it in various ways. So of course it will seek to raise awareness of the potential of transformative subnational climate action. So through showcasing success stories, it will also try and deepen the dialogue with national governments, and in particular improve vertical integration between different levels of government. And it will also seek to reinforce the engagement with international and national funding bodies and development agencies. So you could say that the TAP advocacy work will really try and create this essential interaction nexus with all levels of government, and also try and really create links with financial actors and bodies. Turning to the general timeline of the TAP process, so that is the process leading to the TAP 2015 pavilion from May, from now on, to December, that is 7 months. So application started early May through the offline form that Agathe will be presenting soon. And so on the 2nd of June, which is next Tuesday, we are also planning to launch the online form. And so the idea there is to take advantage of the launch of this online form to release the form and the website also in several languages. So the World Secretariat here is responsible for French and English translations. And so, as previously expressed, the involvement of regional offices in the translation of the form and other related TAP material will be really key to the success of the mobilization efforts for the TAP. So yeah, we have this great advantage here at ICLEI to have a multilingual staff, and so it would be really great to be able to actually tap this potential, you could say. So yes, next month also more webinars will be offered to potential applicants for the TAP. So there again, the World Secretariat is already planning some, and it would be great if regional offices could consider facilitating some webinars in their region. And so, yes, you can see also from the table that there are three deadlines for the TAP. That is 15th of June, 15th of July, and 15th of August. So also, so in June, July, the project selection panel will start to be established, and there again, regional offices will be invited to appoint an internal or external regional expert to be part of the selection panel. So after the final deadline, the selection process will then begin, leading to October, where applicants will be notified if they have been successful. And finally, COP21 in November, December, where the 100 projects will be presented in the pavilion. Now, turning to what is a TAP project. So I will start by the definition. So we refer to two different types of projects when we say TAP projects. So fast-track transformers on one hand, and post-2020 transformers on the other hand. So the main distinguishing points between the two types of projects are, first of all, the stage that they have reached. So either they are already fully designed with clear budget and action plan and a clear management structure, or they only have the concept ready. In terms of needs identified, so for fast-track transformers, the needs, in terms of enabling the implementation of the project. So on the one hand, you have projects which only needs funding, and on the other hand, you have projects requiring not only finance, but also additional advice or expertise in terms of capacity building, strategy development, etc. And so considering these 2 points, we look at the third distinctive point, which is the implementation period. So that is when the project would be ready for implementation, so either in the pre-2020 period or in the post-2020 period. So I will now, turning to the criteria, the actual criteria for selecting the TAP projects. So regarding the general distribution of projects, so we are looking at 5 criteria. First of all, the level of transformative potential, which I will define soon. Secondly, the regional balance. So we are looking for a fair distribution of projects, you could say, between the north and the south. The third point is that we are looking for a balance of mitigation and adaptation projects. The fourth point, we are looking for sectorial balance, so transport, energy, biodiversity, etc. And the final point, we are looking for transparency, that is how informed the different projects applications are. So now looking at the individual projects, that is how we are going to select, on which basis are we going to select individual projects. So TAP applicants should have the potential to transform society. This is the key aspect, and in particular respond to 3 main components, that is of what we call transformative, that is ambitious, cross-cutting, and inclusive. So regarding the ambitious part, so projects can be either first-time projects that will benefit a large proportion of the population, or they are already existing projects and will be scaled up to benefit even a larger proportion of the population. Regarding the cross-cutting criteria, so we will look at how different communities will benefit from the project, how different types of resources will benefit as well in terms of management, so sustainable energy, air quality, land use, etc. And finally, how the projects will contribute to other subnational and national and global sustainability goals. And finally, in terms of inclusiveness, so we are looking how and if the project encourages cross-departmental coordination for effective implementation, if the citizens and local stakeholders are actively engaged, how the project tries to foster collaboration with other levels of government, and finally, if the private sector is actively engaged. So turning to the TAP application form, I will now hand over the presentation to Agathe, who will tell you a bit more about the application form, how to access it, and how to submit it. So Agathe.
Thank you very much, Annabelle. I'm now sharing my screen with you, so you should be able to see it. Should anybody have an issue, please do write it in the chat box. So as Annabelle was explaining, the application process for the Transformative Actions program will be available for applicants both online and offline. However, at the moment, the online application process is not yet established. So the only option, and the one I will be describing today, is the offline application process. First of all, to apply, applicants should go to the TAP website, as you can see on your screen right now, into the Apply section. In this section of the website, you will see 3 tabs. The first one allows the applicant to download the application form, as shown on the screen. The second tab is for submission, and the third one has general how to apply information. Now, going back to the step 1, the download, once you download the application form here, you will be able to open the local copy on your computer. You should be able to see it on your screen right now. This is an Excel spreadsheet. It has 6 tabs, and the first one is a README page with basic information taking the applicant through the application process and providing basic information such as deadline and how to rename their form once completed. You will note in this README sheet that it refers to the procedure after submission of the offline application form. Namely, after an applicant has filled in this Excel spreadsheet and submitted it online, We at the TAP team will be providing them login credentials to view their application on the online platform as soon as this one is live on the internet. That means that you can start and you can complete an application offline, but then we will transfer your content online and you will be able to view it there. However, as I said, the online platform is not on at the moment. The README page also indicates that the form is available in several languages. This is also not available at the moment, but as Annabelle was saying, this is something on which we will engage with you regional offices so as to provide the form in several languages. You will also note that as I described the application form, some question fields are drop-downs, others are descriptive fields where the applicant will have to type in their answer. Those will also need translation, so we're happy to discuss and engage on this with the ROs, while drop-down answers will be automatically translated by our system. Now, going into the core of the application form, I would just like to point out that it may look like an extensive form, but it has been designed to minimize the workload of the applicant while still providing comprehensive information on their TAP project. One way of doing that has been to identify several fields that are required. As you can see on your screen, these are marked with an asterisk, and those that are not required are not marked with the asterisk. Now, this first tab that you can see is a basic registration form where the applicant will enter basic information on the government submitting the application, as well as designated contact points, head of government information, and other liaison contacts. Moving on to the next tab, this is a really important one. The TAP Overview tab captures the transformative potential of the project submitted for application by the local government. This means that it captures the three key transformative criteria that Annabelle has described to you, namely how ambitious the project is, how cross-cutting, and how inclusive. To answer these, you will see that the applicant has the option between drop-down answer fields, such as this one. The little arrow here provides you the two available answers for this question, and to the right you can find a definition of both answers to help you in your decision. Other fields, such as this one, are descriptive fields which will require the applicant to type in their information. The next tab, the Applicant Profile, will require the applicant to fill in background and contextual information, such as information on such as geopolitical information, but as well as socioeconomic information, demographic information, and other commitments by the government toward climate change. Further down the form, you will see sectoral sections that we invite the applicant to fill in for the sectors relevant to their project. You can see that none of these fields are required, but we do invite the applicant to fill as many of them, and not only those that are relevant to their project, because the more complete an application form, the better it will be received during the selection process. Please note that there are required fields throughout a tab, so it is important that the applicant scrolls down and answers all of the required fields. To make sure that they are answered, at the very top of the form, you will see the number of mandatory fields to be completed. Moving on to the next tab, the Project Profile tab. Now this requires the applicant sorry, let me scroll back up. This requires the applicant to provide more detailed information on the project. So as you can see, they will provide general project information such as title, focus area, project status, and others. Then follows a couple of descriptive fields on the project concept, some management information, and more in-depth information on the transformative potential of the project, including the co-benefits that the project can yield. Further down on this tab, the applicant will also be required to fill in information as to the climate potential of its project, both in terms of mitigation action and adaptation action. Finally, at the bottom, the application form requires financial feasibility and technical feasibility information, as well as supporting document here in section 8. Please note that fields marked with an asterisk are required both for an answer and for the upload of the document. Last but not least, the last tab on this form, you may recognize it from the CCR reporting form, is non-mandatory for the applicant, but it allows it to fill in any information on a climate target decided by the City Council or other relevant government body. This will allow us to see if the project submitted by the applicant is helping to achieve this target, or if the target itself is transformative. Once completed, the application form must be uploaded on the website in this section of the Apply section. Basic contact information must be filled in. The Excel spreadsheet must be uploaded through this button here, as well as the supporting documents in a zip file. In the future, when the online platform is up and running, we will also give applicants the opportunity to submit their supporting documents on the online platform and not through this submission button. Finally, we're exploring the possibility for a help desk section on this website where the ROs and the TAP team at the World Secretariat will be able to answer questions that the applicants' cities may have towards the application process. That is all. Thank you very much, and I hand it back to you, Annabelle.
Thank you very much, Agathe. Okay. So I will finish with the selection process. So please note also, first of all, that the selection process and the composition of the selection panel for selecting the projects is still being defined. That is that the selection committee has not yet been appointed. So, however, we have already defined some principles. That is, for example, as you can see on the slide, that each TAP partner, and by TAP partner I mean local government organizations, financing institutions, civil society, NGOs, etc. So each partner organization will appoint a representative to sit in the project selection panel, but also an expert who will sit in the expert committee. And so the idea would be that the expert committee gives recommendations to the project selection panel. So the composition of the two bodies will be announced around the 15th of August at the latest. So regarding the selection process, as I said, guidelines are being developed and will be shared with regional offices and partners in due course. And so another principle that we have defined is that the selection of that project should be based on a consensus-seeking approach rather than a strict voting system whereby a majority would win per se. So what we are looking for is really general agreement and consensus on what is a good acceptable TAP project. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for your attention. We will now turn to a question and answer session. So please feel free to answer any question. And so maybe Louisa, you can give the right for speaking from whoever would like to ask a question.
Yeah, we actually have several questions. So the first one who indicated that she would like to pose questions is Angie, a colleague from the US. Angie, I will give the floor to you.
Oh, okay, thank you. This is Angie Fife with ICLEI USA, and I had two questions. One is, you mentioned the potential to have a help desk available for the applicants to get some assistance with the application. I wonder if the TAP team will have resources available to actually assist the cities in completing the application. It sounded like the help would be more about, difficulty with the application itself and not necessarily gathering the information necessary. So I'm curious about the resources available there. And then secondly, if a city wants to keep some of this information confidential, will we be able to ensure that will be the case? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your question, Angie. So about the help desk, so in terms of resources here at the World Secretariat, we will provide help with general questions on how to fill out the form. But in terms of gathering, if I understood well, gathering data, I mean, the type of advice and help, assistance that we can give is really, yes, about the type of data that should be in the form. And maybe Agathe, you would like to say something about this, because I think you have some experience with the CCR registry, or Agathe?
Sure. Yes, I'm here. I was carefully listening to this. At this stage, I don't exactly know what sort of support can be provided. I think that, well, as you know, we're actively engaging with the cities to, and especially the cities that we know have interesting projects, to submit to TAP. So in this process, it's already this is already the type of support that we're able to give. In addition to that, I believe we will be available similarly to the way we are when supporting reporting entities to the CCR. But as far as supporting the city in gathering the relevant information for their TAP application, I am not sure that we have the resources, but most importantly, I'm not sure a decision's been taken on this. But it's a really interesting point, and I will most definitely take it to the next meeting.
Thank you, Agathe. And so, yes, regarding the confidentiality of information. Sorry. Oh yes, I was saying regarding the. You were saying, is it possible to keep some information confidential? Well, yes, I mean, of course, we would be ready to do that. However, we are also looking that the for transparency as a general principle. So yes, we would be ready to keep some information confidential, but this should not be how to say, gives prejudice to the overall quality of the form. So I guess by saying by confidentiality, you mean that you would like to keep some information to the selection panel only, and that would not go to the on the online platform, for example. Am I right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Right. So yes, I mean, this is a good point, and that we will also discuss. But as I said, we would probably be able and be ready to do that, of course.
All right. Thank you very much for this challenging question from Angie. I have another colleague from the US that would like to pose a question. Darren, feel free to speak with us.
Hi, great. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for this introduction. I found it very helpful. So my question is you mentioned that the TAP is there to really improve access to capital flows and help build these connections between subnational governments and financial bodies. But when we talk about financial bodies, what exactly are we talking about? Is this a focus on development banks? Is this private sector companies? Is it both? If you could just maybe expand a little bit on that, on what financial bodies means, I think that would be helpful.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for your question. Yes. So by financial bodies, we mean both public and private bodies. And so, as you said, development banks would be one part of them. Also, the private. So, as I said, private sector. Also. Yes, we are also looking at how to reach out to business at the moment, because we think that it would be really also very helpful to have them on board. So what I can tell you now is that we are reaching out to this, we are, yes, defining the strategy to reach out to these financial bodies. And yes, of course, we will give you more information. So the idea, of course, would be that these financial bodies would be actively involved in the selection process for that project.
How can the regional offices support you in that?
Well, as I mentioned during the presentation, you can so appoint. Well, this would actually be internally, but what you can do, and this would be maybe from July 2015 onwards, would be to to see regionally how you can maybe reach out to relevant financing bodies to become an active partner of the TAP. And what also you could do is contributing to the TAP mapping of climate finance opportunities and obstacles in your region as well. That is, for example, compiling overviews of the regional climate finance landscape, for example. That type of help would be really that would be very helpful in terms of reaching out to financing bodies. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your question. In any case, Marie-Sophie Beyer, who is the COP21 coordinator, will get in touch with the regional offices very soon, and so we would also strongly encourage you to appoint a TAP liaison within each office, so that you can discuss these issues. Well, these not really issues, but these matters with Marie-Sophie. She will be able to give you also answers to specific questions.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. The next person that would like to pose questions is a colleague from South America, Amanda. Amanda, I will unmute you. Please pose your question. Okay. This didn't sound too well. Amanda, should we try again? Okay, I am afraid you will have to type your question for us, Amanda. And in the meanwhile, I will hand over to a colleague from the US, Shaharnas. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Go ahead and post your question.
Thank you for the presentation. It was a great presentation. I wonder if you are considering to have a simpler version of the application for the first phase of selecting the project, and then requiring the selected projects to fill this application. I'm concerned that this extensive application will be a burden for the local governments to apply. if they're not sure that they will be selected for the TAP?
Yeah, thank you for your question. So in terms of the selecting process, first of all, so as Agathe said, when showing us the application form, there is this sheet that is a TAP overview of the transformative potential of projects. And so this would actually be very helpful in terms of a pre-screening of the projects that is, have on one page already a good idea of the transformative potential of projects. So this is going to be a key sheet for the selection process. And so in terms of the application form being extensive, as Agathe says, yes, we are aware of this, and we are constantly seeking to improve this form so that it does not, as you said, become a burden for applicants. And so, yes, as we mentioned earlier on, we still need to think about what kind of help we would be able to provide to applicants. And yes, so maybe, I don't know, Agathe, if you would like to add something on this, but I think you already...
No, sure, I'd just like to echo the same things that you are saying, Annabelle. Oh, sorry. Yes, Amanda? No, we're not talking to Amanda. Hello?
Hello, go ahead, please.
I was just supporting what Annabelle has said. There is obviously this this TAP overview form that's really important, and that will be a strong basis to the screening of projects. So that's a rather short one to fill in, and obviously we can encourage cities to put a lot of capacity and resources towards making a strong TAP overview a sheet. And that being said, I didn't get the chance to show you field after field in the presentation because I wanted to be as succinct as possible. But a really big number of the questions and the fields in the form are actually not mandatory. So it may be impressive at first, but when you look in depth into the form, I believe a number of local governments will see that only a small number of fields are required of them to fill in for their application process. So hopefully that's a way of curbing this issue. But it is a good point, and it is something, like Annabelle said, that we're constantly trying to improve and trying to gauge which fields should be required for the application process and which can remain optional. Any suggestions on this are obviously very welcome. If you would like to download, and this is an invitation to all the ROs, if you would like to download the form from the website and play around, play with the different fields, the different questions, we're always open to hear about your feedback and experience with writing a mock application.
Thank you. I'll be in touch about that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I have now communicated with Amanda. She's tried to fix her mic issues, and we will just try again if we can listen to her question. Amanda, go ahead.
Hi, sorry. This is Bruna. Several of us from the South American office are watching the webinar together. Thank you very much for the presentation. So we have a few questions. We have already watched some of the TAP presentations until now. I think one with the presentation of the platform is this connected to the Carbon platform? Because I think many of the criteria that are supposed to be reported by the cities are already in the Carbon, especially context-wise. So the registration part, the emission targets part is all in Carbon. So I was wondering if the cities have to report that all over again, or if they can use the information that's already available. Another question is regarding to financing, and this is one that I have already received from some cities that were in the Urban Land Seminar in Indonesia. They have been asking me if the selected projects will be guaranteed to receive funding, or if this is the next stage. The next question came from Colombia, who's already talking to Ana Marquez from the World Secretariat about the TAP. They wanted to know if the TAP will include budget roofs for applicants. And I think, and of course, we would like to reinforce the question that was raised by ICLEI US regarding the assistance to the cities. This has already been flagged to us by our member cities as well, that they will really need and want our close assistance to design, to identify the projects that are applicable to TAP and design the application. So of course it's relevant to know how much capacity we will be able to offer them in this. Thanks.
Thank you for your question. Agathe, maybe you can provide an answer about carbon, the link between the application form and carbon, maybe?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much for asking us this question, actually, Bruna. This is yet another point that I ran out of time for making. But yes, you're absolutely right. The TAP application form mirrors a number of the questions and the type of data or information that we're asking in the CCR reporting forms, both offline and online. I have to say, while we have been brainstorming ways of connecting the two in one direction, and by that direction I mean from the TAP application form towards the CCR, we have not considered a connection the other way around. So to tell you a little bit more, we're talking about ways to maybe provide the applicant with a tick box or an option at some point of the application process to also have the content of his application feed into a CCR report, either to update the local government's input into the CCR if they are already a reporting entity, or to create a new entry if a city is applying to TAP but not yet a reporting entity to CCR. It's a good point that there could be a connection the other way around. I don't know.
Sorry, actually, Agathe, yes. I just wanted, sorry to interrupt you. Actually, we have been discussing this a while ago, the fact that, for example, applicants who are already reporting to carbon, there would be essentially an option whereby the fields of the TAP application form could be pre-populated with the data that is already in carbon. However, we need, as Agathe said, we still need to make a final decision on this. So yeah, I just wanted to make this point because it would actually work both ways. But yeah, this still needs to be discussed. Sorry, Agathe, for interrupting.
So my last point was that it's just even more so interesting. This question by Bruna and the connection from CCR into the TAP in both ways, because it will also allow to update some already existing CCR reports by entities that are already reporting. So it is definitely something that we're very seriously considering, and this morning's webinar and your input again today is really helping towards this discussion and the final decision that will be taken on how to connect the two and how best to connect it. So I thank you for this comment and question, Bruna.
Yes, going back to your question on financing, so and the question was, will projects be guaranteed funding? This is not the idea. I mean, the idea of the TAP is to enable TAP projects to be selected and to be made visible on the TAP online platform and at the pavilion, and also that we are able to pre-broker, between the TAP applicants and financing bodies. But we cannot guarantee that this will happen. We will develop tools. We will engage, we will actively target specific financing institutions, talking about the pavilion in particular, and make sure that they attend the right session, the relevant sessions for them. But we cannot guarantee that at the end the project will obtain funding.
Does this answer your questions, Amanda, Bruna?
Does this answer your questions?
Okay, it is hard to get a response from them. There was a third question on the terms and conditions of the TAP, and whether they will include budget roofs for applicants.
Budget rules. Well, actually, I am not aware of such a condition and term, but yes, I will actually write down this question and try and provide an answer as soon as possible. So, terms of, sorry, the question is from?
This is from Amanda/Bruna. These are colleagues from South America.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they also offered themselves for a brainstorm for the TAP in general, so you may just get in touch with them.
That's great. Yes, that's very great. Thanks.
All right, and for now we have no further questions from the audience, so I may hand over to you again, Annabelle, for a wrap-up.
Right, thank you.
Sorry, if I may. An interesting question that was asked this is Agathe, an interesting question that was asked this morning in the webinar, and for which I'd like to provide an answer in case some of our audience members were wondering. One local government or city may apply to the TAP for several projects. If they do so through the offline process, they would have to send a different application, so a different Excel file for each of these applications, because each has to describe a different project. If the local government or city is applying online, as soon as the online platform will be available, they will there have the option in one go to apply for several projects. Similarly to the CCR online reporting platform, if you are familiar with it, they will there be able to add several projects. But this will only be available on the online platform. So for now, while the application process remains offline, each project requires its own application, therefore its own Excel spreadsheet. I just wanted to clarify this.
Yes, right. Thank you very much, Agathe. So yes, so a final reminder that we will send you a link to the video, a video on the background information on the international climate negotiations process, presentation delivered by Yunus Arikan, Head of Global Policy and Advocacy here at the World Secretariat. So yeah, I would like to thank you. We would like to thank you very much for attending the webinar and for asking your questions. Again, I would like to encourage. We would like to encourage the regional offices to appoint a TAP liaison that will engage in a for like regular meeting. well, at least regular calls with our coordinator for the COP21 here, Marie-Sophie Beyer. Yes, so that would be great. That would be the next step. And so yes, we welcome also, as you were suggesting, brainstorming on the tab. We are very happy to do that. And yes, thank you for participating, and thank you for your help and support in the tab process. Yeah.
Thank you all, and goodbye.
Thank you very much.